I start working on the players that are going to be drafted the day after the college football championship game, and I do it every single day. That means for 3 months I have lived with these players in my head, and I have been asking questions about it. Thursday, I will finally get the answers. So today's green list are the top 5 things I cannot wait to find out after all of this time. Number 5, when does Tyler Shuck come off the board? If you just erased absolutely everything but looked at the measurables, you could make an argument Tyler Shuck should be the first quarterback in this draft. The size, the speed, the arm, but he's almost 26 years old. He's got a history of injuries. He could go anywhere from the first round to the third. I can't wait to see what happens. The second question I'm dying to get the answer to at number 4. Will we have 2 tight ends go before the first wide receiver? There are 2 tight ends people in this draft love. Tyler Warren from Penn State, you've been hearing about him. I've been hearing a lot about Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan. I've heard a lot of people say they like him better than they like Warren. I think there's a chance both of them go before the first wide receiver gets taken. Number 3, pass rusher is a premium position. We know Abdul Carter is going to go right up at the top. Who's the next pass rusher coming off the board going to be? They're not names that you know. Usually, these are all guys that you know going in. Michael Williams from Georgia, Mike Green from Marshall. These are critically important players at a premium position. We have no idea what order they're going to go in. Number 2, does Ashton Jeanty go inside the top 5? Most important thing in the sport, this is the guy who gets them for you. I've been hearing a lot of people suggest he's going inside the top 5. I see Schrager nodding. I can't wait to see if he goes inside the top 5 before the Raiders get to pick. And then number 1, my number 1 question, it's everybody's number 1 question. What in the world is going to happen with Shedeur Sanders? He could go anywhere from number 3 to the 2nd round. Is he even going to be the second quarterback off the board in this draft after Cam Ward? I don't know the answers. I'm not an evaluator. I'm not an insider. I'm just the person who asks the questions, and I can't wait to finally get the answers. Now on ESPN.com, Adam Schefter put together an unbelievable list of things that he's been hearing entering draft week. And in talking about Shedeur Sanders, he brought up an interesting point. He wrote, short of Mike Tomlin, any other coach who drafts Shedeur Sanders better be comfortable with his standing within the organization, because if that team struggles and the fan base is calling for a coaching change, speculation will start to swirl about Sanders' father taking over. Mike Tannenbaum, it's a complicated little topic here. There are some big advantages that come with being Deion Sanders' son, I would imagine, and maybe there are some disadvantages in this as well. What is your perspective on all this, Mike T?
Greedy, I think what I'm saying is totally fair, and let's just focus in on the Giants, because obviously there's a lot of speculation about what may happen. Look, if I'm Brian Daboll, my seat is warm. I just want to go win as many games as possible and ignore the noise. I know that's easier said than done, being on the hot seat in New York, but here's what I would say. You can win a lot of games with Shedeur Sanders. I think he's Kirk Cousins. I think he's accurate, good arm, great anticipation. He's a lot better than what they've had at quarterback. If you're worried about the noise, about what he brings, you're worrying about the wrong things. I think what I'm saying is true, but what a great head coach does, he leads by example and he blocks out the distractions. That's whatever head coach needs to do, including Brian Daboll, if in fact Shedeur Sanders becomes a Giant.
What do you think of all this, D. Wood?
I think where there's smoke, there's fire. And think about it. Shedeur Sanders, the only person he's ever been coached by has been his father.
Yes.
And so when you bring in a prospect like Shedeur Sanders in a quote unquote volatile situation, that's the only thing. That's the only logical place that people are going to point to. Is this a place where Deion could possibly end up coaching his son?
Collegiate stops. Peter, you and I were just talking during the break. Like the delta on what might happen with Shedeur, I can't remember ever seeing this before. He might go 3. He might go in the 2nd round.
Green, you got to go back to Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow, these kinds of quarterbacks where all it takes is one team, but there is not a consensus that this is the guy. And yet both of those players, who are very different, went in the 1st round. With Shedeur, I almost feel like the media, and I'll point to ESPN and NFL Network, they're all complicit in building this stock up to where he was considered early on in the process, a number 2 overall possibility, a number 3 overall possibility. I've been talking to teams since the Combine. I had nobody telling me Shedeur Sanders is a top 5 pick, and yet I looked at all these mock drafts, and Shedeur Sanders was listed as a top 5 pick. So now we're here at the draft, and suddenly Deion's camp is quiet. Shedeur we're not hearing from. Look, I hope it all goes great for him on Thursday night. And number 3 overall, the Giants say Shedeur Sanders, and we all say, look, we told you, Shedeur Sanders, 3rd overall. But this could go a wide variety of ways, and some of them that we did not anticipate as a collective media just a couple weeks back.
Listen, in our meeting this morning, I had said, there's really not a quarterback that I'm really enamored with. We know Cam Ward is going to go number 1, but my whole feeling is none of these guys are really first-round picks. And that to me is what the most intriguing thing about this draft is. We don't know where the heck these guys are going to end up because there's no one logical fit for any of these guys past Cam Ward.
Mike T, final word.
Yeah, I think context is everything. I disagree with what Peter said from this standpoint. If you're the Steelers, the Browns, the Giants, and even the Saints with Derek Carr's situation, Shedeur Sanders is a really good player. And if you don't have a quarterback, you could go win a lot of games. We've talked a lot about the Zach Wilsons of the world, the Trevor Lawrences of the world, Anthony Richardson, guys with great tools that weren't great quarterbacks. Green, you talked about it a lot. Shedeur Sanders can play productive winning quarterback. Where he gets drafted Thursday night is the beginning of the story. If the 4 of us were running a team and we needed a quarterback, we would be really happy with Shedeur as our starter.
I agree. Listen, we talk a lot about high floor. He has a very high floor. I think his floor is very high. Sometimes they draft players because they're looking for a higher ceiling. We'll find out. In the meantime, back to the NBA. And coming up next, this might have been the most stunning soundbite of the entire basketball season. It had everyone talking yesterday. You're going to hear it next. You're going to hear the reaction. If you haven't heard it yet, I have a feeling you're going to be stunned. Plus, it was a Hollywood horror show in Game 1. It's tonight a must-win for LeBron and Luka and the Lakers. What if they lose? We got a bold prediction on the way. You're watching Get Up on ESPN.
Chào cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là cái chiếu. Mọi người hôm nay vòng có tiêu đề là bàn ăn. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm.